Hello, Rangers. This is Tennyson E. Stead, the creator of Jump Rangers, and this is a new stream that we're going to be trying, and it is a workshop stream called the Mission Files, where every single week I'm going to write on stream a one-shot mission for the Jump Rangers tabletop role-playing game, and then I'll publish that mission in the data deck files that are available to subscribers on my Patreon. So if you like the resources that we're coming up with, if you're visiting the stream, if you're checking out what we're doing and you want to get your hands on it, the Patreon is just $5 a month, and the core book for Jump Rangers is available for free. Anyone can play the game. And all the expansion content that I've written, which includes 5 major supplements and more than 60 what I call data decks, micro supplements, a couple pages of characters or lore or setting or even, storytelling advice, ethics even, all of it. All of that is available. So literally thousands of pages of content, I think, at this point. I don't even know. Probably up around 1,000, at least, on top of the core book. And more is coming every week. The other stuff that's coming to the subscription, by the way, is the Jump Rangers novel that I'm writing. Every week I'm publishing a new chapter of the first Jump Rangers young readers novel, which is called a game called Conquest. And on Tuesdays at the same time on this channel, I'm reading and editing a chapter of the book. So if you'd like some story time, please join us on Tuesdays. And the first 10 chapters of the novel are available to everybody for free. So there's a Jump Rangers landing page. If you visit patreon.com/Jump Rangers, the first thing you should see in the list of posts is something called the Jump Rangers landing page. Links to the novel, links to the data decks, and everything's on a Google Drive. So you can access the various Google Drives through that menu. And in the meantime, we're gonna do some writing. So the systems that run the Jump Rangers tabletop role-playing game are pretty simple, deceptively so. There's a lot of gameplay packed into that simplicity, and there's a lot of things the system can do. I'm frankly extremely proud of the gameplay. So it may seem like things are pretty simple and straightforward as we work out game rules for anything that needs game rules in this particular stream, but don't be fooled. There's a lot to the game, and there's always another layer that the rules can kind of open up if that's what you want. So as much as we may blast through some of the balancing stuff here as we work through the mission, I have every bit of confidence that the game itself will make the experience of playing these one-shot sessions extremely fun and deep in terms of gameplay. The last thing to talk about before we get started is why am I doing this? And it's simple time. There's 2 issues with Jump Rangers. There's a lot of work to do to get this game finished and to get this game to a point where we can start bringing in the kind of money that it's going to take to develop it to the next level. I have right now a concept artist named Federico Estevao who's doing fantastic work developing the look of Jump Rangers, developing some of the core visual concepts. And a lot of the work that he's done is available for free on the Patreon as well. You can check it out. But there's a lot more that I want to do with Federico. I would like to hire Federico first, full time. I would like to start paying for a team to work with Federico. I have a composer chomping at the bit in Dan Haggerty to start doing music for Jump Rangers. I'd like to start throwing music money at Dan so we can have a soundtrack for the tabletop role-playing game and themes to develop as we develop into other media. And there's work to be done from there. I don't know if I'm going to be publishing this Jump Rangers novel myself, or if we're going to have a publisher working with us. If it's going to be me, then I mean, even little things. I would really like to have some 8-sided dice made in the little Jump Rangers font that you see right here. And I've got the designs ready to go. I'm pricing them out as we speak. I've sent out some emails last night, in fact. So there's a lot. Lot of things to pay for. The layout of the tabletop role-playing game. I want to publish a really nice book. I want to build an app so that all the supplementary content is available to people very easily. And all of these things, are going to take an investment. So publishing the book, getting things out there, and generating revenue, but also generating publicity is really important. And the hope is that the stuff that we do on these Twitch streams is going to help, of course, but time is a commodity, and I only have so much of it. And right now, I'm the primary person working on the production. So we need content. We need all these different things. One of the things I know we need is a lot more one-shots, so people can run in and try the game out without a high level of commitment. At the same time, we need content on Twitch, and this just seemed like a great opportunity to do both things at once. Sit down with people, talk about story, answer questions about the lore, and workshop something creative, and let people see also how story works for me. Talk about the differences. I'm a professional screenwriter. Talk about the differences between screenwriting and game design, game development, and all the other things that come up. Talk about world building, whatever people want to discuss. So I'm going to open up the creative process on the weekly one-shots, because I think that publishing one Jump Rangers adventure a week that people can play is a really good idea. I think it's a fantastic way to get people involved, and at the same time, that's a relatively large time commitment. If I can invest just a little bit extra time, make it a process that people can get involved in here on Twitch, invite discussion about Jump Rangers, and use it as an opportunity to sort of get to know the community and play with people. Talk about the things that people would like to see in these adventures and share ideas and have fun on that level. I think it could be productive. So that's the thought. I'm going to have a sip of Topo Chico. That's what I'm doing. And without any further ado, let's take a look. So, let me pull up my handy dandy sheet here. So I've built this template for how these mission files are going to work. And we'll just walk through it before we get started. So 3 scenes is, I think, all we're going to have time for in one night of Jump Rangers. Everything that players do, and any storyteller will attest to this, is going to wind up taking either twice as long as anyone expects, or it's going to be done instantly with basically no effort on the player's part, because they're going to find some way to break the game. There really isn't a lot of just everything going according to plan, at least in the tabletop role-playing sessions that I have run as a storyteller. And I don't think that experience is super unique to myself. I'm a little bit out of frame, so let's fix that. There we go. So I think it'd be a mistake to have more than 3 scenes plus a little epilogue, a little opportunity to wind things down if people have a little extra time to play that night. So that's the thinking there. And then the big picture is a little bit of context for the storyteller, how this particular mission fits into the Jump Rangers universe, who is the person in need that the Jump Rangers are jumping in to help, what exactly is going on in the communities and in the places where this particular story takes place. What's the deal, right? Setting up the story is more about exploring exactly how the Jump Rangers came to be in the place where they are, and creating a fast, easy understanding of where the momentum of the story is pulling the characters as you go. And then, so all of that is kind of prelude. Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, and then epilogue. So what we need to do here is we need to find stories, actions that Jump Rangers need to do, things that Jump Rangers need to do that have 3 basic steps to them. Because any more than 3, and it's not one session. That's the idea. Now, in most role-playing games, the first thing that players do, even if it's because they've been summoned to a place and have been physically sat down and forced to listen, the first thing players are usually going to do is gather information. So scene 1 is going to be an information gathering scene of some kind. Maybe it's that the players are, digging up that information for themselves. Or maybe it's that they are being briefed on something by someone who needs help, or by someone who's got an interest in getting help from the Jump Rangers. But in any case, that's the deal with that. Scene 2 and Scene 3 become the place where all the action is. So this is a little bit more limiting as a format than you might think, but constraint is the mother of discipline, right? This is where the creative magic happens. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's going to be good. I also, for the record, have an eye on chat here. So if anybody pops in, I can see that you're here. I can see what's going on, and I will be aware of the fact that people might be checking in on me. All right. So, and sometimes, if there's people in chat, I'll ask, what do people want a mission on? What are people interested in exploring? There's a couple of, I think, really easy places to start. And I'm going to start keeping a list of go-to concepts for Jump Ranger stories, because I'm going to need one every single week, and I think a little preparation is going to go a long way in terms of making sure that this show doesn't get stale and that it doesn't get boring, and that I'm always generating content that people can actually use. But for this week, one of the things that I've been thinking about is the idea that part of a Jump Ranger's job is to save colonies that are being hunted by undersaur exterminators. Right? Undersaurs who work in this business have the job of basically being pest control for the Rexors. They have to go find the humans that are causing all the problems, or all the disturbances, or the trash. If a Rexor sees evidence of human beings living on their planet, they want those human beings gone. And the Rexor, the exterminators, are the undersaurs that get that unfortunate work. So getting results in that regard is kind of what undersaur exterminators do. And an exterminator doesn't stop looking for pests until they find the hive, right? An undersaur exterminator is not going to stop looking for people until they find a colony. And it's going to take nothing short of that for them to convince themselves, and for them to convince the Rexors that are watching over them, that they've actually done their job and that they can stop looking. So how does a Jump Ranger... You can't just kill all the exterminators, because Rexors don't value undersaur life all that much. They will just bring more exterminators. If you go and you kill all the exterminators, that just means they have a bigger problem than they thought, and they're going to escalate the conflict on you. So it kind of occurred to me this week that Jump Rangers must have some kind of plan for convincing undersaur exterminators that they actually have destroyed a human colony. They might have kind of a playbook that they go to for everyday Jump Rangers tasks that might need to get done in the interest of protecting a human colony on a given planet. You see what I'm saying? What I think has to happen in order to, and again, the logic of this is definitely not super procedural. Jump Rangers is a little bit fast and loose in terms of the world building, but it seems like, to me, Jump Rangers would have to convince the undersaurs that they had destroyed the colony, even if they haven't. There must be some kind of way of tricking the undersaurs or into believing that what they've found is kind of the extent of the human infestation on the planet that they're on. And once that's achieved, the undersaurs will stop looking. So that's kind of the big picture that I'm going to lay out here. So we're going to call this bait and switch. And I'm also noticing, to my frustration and chagrin, that the OBS settings that I have right now are not actually filling the Twitch window. That's not something I'm going to try and deal with right at this exact instant, but it is something that I want to deal with at some point. And I will. I'll take a look at that before next week. So, so the first thing we're going to talk about here, and this doesn't need to be super involved. It can be just a couple quick paragraphs. But I want to say what I've just said in a way that's more engaging to read. And the reason why I've got my, I've got this piece of text in front of you is because I want to make sure that even when I'm writing, there's something here to watch. I want to make sure that the actual work of writing this down is part of the show, because it needs to be written by the time the show's over. That's what we're doing. So, every colony, this shouldn't be bolded. Every colony has to here we go. Every colony in Saurian space is forced to outlast and outwit the efforts of undersaur exterminators to wipe them out, to find them and destroy them. Every human colony. So, while exterminators are almost never My goodness. Okay. Great. Every human colony in saurian space is forced to outlast and outwit the efforts of undersaur exterminators and to find and destroy them. To find and destroy them. Every human colony in saurian space is forced to outlast and outwit the efforts of undersaur exterminators to find and destroy human beings. While exterminators are almost never the best and brightest undersaurs that the Saurian Empire has to offer, they are always extremely committed to their jobs. No undersaur can afford to do any less than their very best on behalf of their Rexor overlords. Any undersaur who thinks their efforts are good enough and who isn't delivering the results their Rexors want to see, will very quickly find themselves working in the mines of planet Cinder. For this reason, any human colony that is being hunted letting an undersaur exterminator track a human being back to their colony is always when a human being lets an undersaur exterminator track them, it puts the entire colony in jeopardy. Once a team of exterminators have figured out where the humans live, they will stop at nothing. Cleansed by disruptor fire. Nothing less than total annihilation. Will satisfy their Rexor masters. Track them home. Once the undersaurs find and identify a human colony, they will begin a siege. Once the undersaurs find undersaurs have the weapons. Undersaurs have the weapons they need to overpower a human colony, and they have the numbers. Okay, when a human being lets an undersaur exterminator track them to their colony, it puts the entire colony in jeopardy. Once a team of exterminators have figured out where the humans are living, once a team of exterminators, once the undersaurs know where humans are living, they will stop at nothing to see that colony annihilated. More often than not, this is achieved with the use of disruptor mines and extermination squads. There we go. We're just getting more specific here. So once the undersaurs know where humans are living, they annihilate the human infestation with disruptor mines and extermination squads. Undersaurs have the weapons they need to overpower. Have all the weapons they need to overpower a human colony, and they have the numbers. So a fight against undersaur exterminators is not a fight we can win in the long run. If a colony is at risk of being discovered by the saurian horde, it's time to call in a jump ranger. What exactly is a jump ranger supposed to do? What exactly is a jump ranger supposed to do about undersaur extermination team if they've already figured out there's a human colony living in the area? Colonists. If they've already when they've already figured out. After they've figured out there's human colonists living in the area. There we go. Now we're talking. Moving the colony is always an option. But it's an option of last resort. People don't want to lose their homes. Nobody wants to lose their home. And a jump ranger will prevent that if they can. Here we go. All right. Any guests? No, not at the moment. That's my Uncle Iroh t-shirt. All right. Okay. when they return, they'll have more time to... There we go. Oh, just in time. All right. Because the need to trick extermination teams into ending their search for a human colony is so common. Stopping. I like stopping better. Stopping a search for human colonies. Because the need to trick extermination teams into wrapping things up. You know what I mean? Into because the need to trick undersaurs into believing they found an exterminated human colony is so common, this is actually a scenario that jump rangers train for. For a jump ranger, the question isn't whether a colony can afford to spend the resources on setting up a convincing decoy just so the undersaurs can blow it up. Instead, the question is whether that decoy colony can be set up in time to save everybody. There. That's the big picture. That's what we needed. Setting up the story. Just because a jump ranger knows but decoy colony is necessary does not mean that the governor or the quartermaster will agree with them. Just about any colony in Saurian space might need a ranger to come in and get a team of exterminators off their backs. But nobody likes to give up the food, water, and technology that keeps them safe and comfortable. Depending and taking a look at the All right. So I am just now noticing that the OBS isn't moving the text file. I apologize for that. I can fix that. Didn't know that was a thing. There we go. Easily done. So I'll keep an eye on that, and if anybody happens to come by in chat and notice that I haven't scrolled it down, please just let me know. I'll keep this little window open. There's a little browser interaction window. This is just a Google Docs file that I've set up on OBS. So OBS gives you a little window to interact with browser windows, and that's very handy. Yeah, it's nice. All right, back to work. So let's. Alrighty. All right. So this is all actually part of the first scene. So what do we call this scene? Let's call it undersaur problems. It would be nice if I could think of a pun for bait and switch that was lizard related. Gator switch? No. Yeah. I'm just going to take a quick look at the rhyming dictionary. Hang tight one sec. So, bait, search. Afraid Kate ate Eight's 8. Wait. Straight. I don't think we're going to find a whole lot of fate. I don't think we're going to find a whole lot of lizard puns there. Switch. Glitch. Fitch. Twitch. Witch. Snitch. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work for us. Liberate, mandate, messmate, mutate, negate, narrate, ornate, playmate, postate, pronate, probate, predate, primate, pulsate, pupate, rebate, reflate, restate, relate, roommate, rotate, schoolmate, sedate, serrate, shipmate, scratch plate, rogate. Oh, there's so many. Tailgate, teammate, workmate, whitebait, wallplate, update. I'll think about that. All right. Okay. Okay. Anybody here? All right. I can see that we're getting to the bottom of the page again, so we will go back to OBS. I sort of thought that it would track my own work, but it doesn't quite do that. All right. So there's that. Now, setting the trap. Bait and switch. Catch and release. That's another opportunity for puns. Catch and release. All right, rhyming dictionary. Ratch, thatch, snatch. Hatch, which is what undersaurs do, but it's not. It doesn't really work for me. Release. Okay. Charisse, cerise, clarice, clarice, camise, catisse, crown piece, decease, eyepiece, grand niece, great niece, green peas, headpiece, indries, lend lease, make piece, maurice, molise, mouthpiece, neckpiece, police, set piece, showpiece, sublease, surcease, tailpiece, three-piece, timepiece, two-niece, two-piece, wool grease, workpiece. Not quite what we're looking for. Huh. All right. We'll keep working on it. All right. let's have a quick look here. Figure out where this is. Looking for the... What I'm doing right now is I'm checking the Jump Rangers data deck, which is a freely available database of all the information in Jump Rangers that I keep. It's basically an index of every concept in the game, which I keep in the... What's it called? The folder with the core book. It's free to access. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Background, Planet Battleground. Okay, there we go. There. There we go. Now, It's also possible, I'm thinking about that title again. It's also possible that this whole thing is it's one of those things that old war buddies have have a name for. Like there's some like the something. Like when con artists talk about specific jobs, they have names for those jobs. They have a language, like a secret language. The like I don't know what to call it. The Bristol, the the pumpernickel. Why is it called a pumpernickel? I spelled it wrong. I don't know. The pumpernickel. It's a fun word. It can be called the pumpernickel. Once the decoy colony is fully prepared, and once the for an exterminator attack, for extermination. Someone's got to go. So finding a location that will fool the undersaurs. And that will suitably explain, all the human sightings. So now we need to set a difficulty. So I need to pull up my little difficulty chart in the rules. Hang on one sec. Rules of the game is chapter 3. That's one of the sections, of course. That's free for everybody. Hang on one sec. I don't think it's that hard. Hacking electronic security, scaling a cliff. So challenging is for hacking electronic security. It's probably, well, maybe it's not that simple. Yeah, challenging. Challenging. Let's check and make sure that my OBS is still displaying. There we go. All right. This isn't taking too long. We've been at this for about an hour. We're about 3/4 done, I think. This is good. I like this. All right. Four victories on the appropriate roll. All right. Moving right along here. Monsters of the Void. Is that right? Hiding among the stars. Yep. There we go. Chapter 7. Jump Interest Scorebook. Boom. Chapter 7. Hiding among the stars. Let's make sure that you can see the OBS stuff. Scroll it down a little bit. Okay. Be harder than you might expect. Which is how they got stuck in the job. Alright, so let's take an undersaur and beef them up a little bit. Let's pull out an exterminator out of Monsters of the Void. Undersaur, Exar Warlord, Undersaur Exterminator. Alright, here we go. Dunka 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 dunka. So Krillish the Exterminator. There we go. free of pests. Yep, I am.
How's it going?
It's going good. We're moving right along. This isn't taking too long. I think I'll be done. It's probably about a 2-hour stream, really, which isn't bad at all.
Has anybody popped in?
No, not yet. Great. So we got to give Krillish a whole lot of heart. We're going to give Krillish 5 heart. No, we'll give Krillish, 5 heart, because any more than that, they would start seeing the problems. And we'll give Krillish a little extra intelligence. Relentless. Devoted. We'll give... And then Saurian training, combat, extermination, human, Saurian training. I'm trying to think of something like ridiculous, like positive mental attitude, or like motivational speaking. It's not quite leadership. Krillish is not going to be easy to deal with. Saurian training. Tactics. Tracking. Let me just make sure that tactics, because I've been making a lot of changes to the way that character creation works, and I want to make sure that tactics isn't something that I've just completely done away with. I don't think I have. I think it's still a thing. Yeah, it's still a thing. Okay, great. Krillish. So, a Krillish can definitely be tricked. So, instead of devoted, devoted, relentless, strong, vicious. Under their command, have a problem taking orders from an overachiever like Krillish. So, if players want to take that time, Okay. Once the Rangers have the attention of Krillish and their squad, the game is afoot. The game becomes a chase back to the decoy base. Run the exterminators, at least until it's very clear where they've gone. So, once the Rangers have the attention of Krillish and their squad, the game becomes a chase back to the decoy base. Once the Rangers have the attention of Krillish and their squad, the game becomes a chase back to the decoy base. Keep in mind that the Rangers don't actually want to outrun the exterminators, at least until it's very clear where the heroes have gone to. Once the heroes arrive at the at the at the decoy site, they need to cover up the escape of any colonists that have agreed to help them. Sell the trick. Keeping the pressure on the undersaurs, the jump rangers will have to force. The jump rangers must force the exterminators to set their charges, blow up the colony, and get out rather than taking their sweet time and performing their duties more thoroughly. That's it. With 8 undersaurs fighting back, this won't be easy. Working as a team or preparing the location with traps in advance will certainly help the Rangers succeed. They'll either need to All right. Doop doop doop. Is that it? Heart, mind, 3. Strong, vicious. Humans, motivational speaking, Saurian training, tactics, and tracking. Krillish's weakness is the other undersaurs. So we're just going to LMNO PQR. Instead of devoted, we're going to make Krillish obnoxious. Because we've given them tactics. I think that's fun. I think that's a good mission. So, the only thing I don't like is the title. The Pumpernickel. No. Catch and release is better than the Pumpernickel. What's another word for decoy? We're going to look up thesaurus.com. Decoy. Synonyms. Bait, trap. Beard, blind. Camouflage, catch. Chicanery, come on. Deception, enticement, facade. Fake. Pretense, plant, narc, lure. Inducement, intimation, imitation, front. Shill, snare, stoolie, temptation, trick, trickery. Okay, switch. Let's look up switch. Change, exchange. Convert, divert, replace. Shift, swap, turn, veer, deflect, deviate, interchange, rearrange, shunt, sidetrack. Just replace a base. Replace a base. That's silly. Replace a base. So, here we are. Once again, I let the OBS get away from me. But if anybody wants to see everything that was written, it's all down here. Here we've got Krillish, the exterminator. Got a little epilogue here. Oh, the epilogue. But what about the governor? Maybe they never had a problem with the plan the Rangers were proposing, or maybe they thought... Or maybe they thought it was brash and wasteful. But you can't put too high a price on peace of mind. With the safety of the colony secured, the attention of the undersaurs diverted, while this wasn't a huge mission. This governor will have no problem giving the Rangers free reign of their tech shop. There we go. Lovely. All right, we'll just give it a little proofread and then that's it. So here we go. Replace the base, a Jump Rangers mission. Every human colony in Saurian space is forced to outlast and outwit the efforts of undersaur exterminators to find and destroy human beings. While exterminators are almost never the best and brightest undersaurs that the Saurian Empire has to offer, they are always extremely committed to their jobs. They can be very committed to their jobs. No undersaur can afford to do any less than their very best on behalf of their Rexor masters. Any undersaur who thinks their efforts are good enough and who isn't delivering the results the Rexors want to see will very quickly find themselves working in the mines of planet Cinder. When a human being lets an undersaur exterminator track them home to their colony, it puts the entire colony in jeopardy. Once the undersaurs know where humans are living, they annihilate the human infestation with disruptor mines and extermination squads. Undersaurs have all the weapons they need to overpower a human colony, and they have the numbers. So a fight against undersaur exterminators is not a fight we can win in the long run. If a colony is at risk of being discovered by the Saurian horde, it's time to call in a Jump Ranger. What exactly is a Jump Ranger supposed to do about an undersaur extermination team after they've figured out there are human colonists living in the area? Moving the colony is always an option, but it's an option of last resort. Nobody wants to lose their home, and a Jump Ranger will never ask people to leave their homes if it can possibly be helped. In a case like this, the standard procedure is to build a decoy colony with the help of the colonists. Once that colony is set up, and once it looks convincing enough, the Jump Ranger and any soldiers who might be willing to fight will defend the decoy colony against the undersaurs in an effort to fake an evacuation. Letting the undersaurs win this fight so they can destroy the colony base just as the colonists are escaping is a key element in letting them believe they've won and that the human pests have been driven out of the area. If the undersaurs are defeated and driven off, they'll be back with more exterminators and more firepower. When they return, they'll have more time to examine the decoy colony, and they might just realize that they've been tricked. So it's not doing any good to have this extra window up at this point, so let me just switch back here. So, because they need to trick the undersaurs into believing they've found and exterminated a human colony, because the need to trick undersaurs into believing they've found and exterminated a human colony is so common, this is actually a scenario that Jump Rangers train for. For a Jump Ranger, the question isn't whether a colony can afford to spend the resources on setting up a convincing decoy just so undersaurs can blow it up. Instead, the question is whether that decoy colony can be set up in time to save everybody. Just because a jump ranger just because a jump ranger knows that setting up a see these are all kinds of typos knows that setting up a decoy colony is necessary does not mean the governor or the quartermaster of any given colony will agree with them. Just about any colony in Saurian space might need a ranger to come in and get a team of particularly thorough exterminators off their backs. But nobody likes being told that they need to give up the food, water, and technology that keeps them safe and comfortable. Depending on the colony where this mission is taking place, a jump ranger might need to work behind the backs of the governor and the quartermaster. If you know which colony the story is set in, then taking a look at any information on who runs that colony, then taking a look at the information we've provided on who runs that colony and how and why should give you a clue as to how the colony's leadership react to the Jump Rangers' plan. From there, you'll have a sense of who is likely to support the Jump Rangers and who is likely to be a problem for them. Scene 1. Start this mission by letting the governor or leader of the colony where the Jump Rangers are staying approach them and explain that they have an undersaur extermination team that is getting dangerously close to discovering the colony's whereabouts. Maybe the governor will be open to spending the resources on building a decoy, and maybe not, but they certainly want the story's hero to handle these undersaurs for them. Whether or not they're going to tell that Jump Ranger how to do their job will depend on their personality, motives, and plans for the future. In any event, the Ranger is going to need to try and get the governor's support. What's more, once the Ranger, this is a classic. Once the Ranger realizes that this is a classic replace-a-base job, the Ranger is going to need to try and get the governor's support. Once more, the Ranger needs to know everything the governor can tell them about the undersaur exterminator in questions. The undersaur exterminators in question. Once the Rangers know where the governor and once the Ranger knows where the governor and the quartermasters where the governor and the quartermaster stand on the question of sending tech and supplies to a decoy location, spending tech and supplies on a replace-a-base, the Rangers will need to find people willing to help them make this plan happen. If the leaders of the colony are not behind them, they need to ask around until they find people who are setting the trap. Once the Rangers have an idea of what must be done, they have to find the resources and help they need to actually follow through. Human colonies are pretty big. Undersaurs think of humans as pests, which means they don't look too hard at the places where they live. Much like a human stomping out a nest of bugs, an undersaur exterminator will more or less try to just set our colony on fire before they gag from looking at it for too long. What this means is that we don't need to be all that thorough in setting up a decoy colony and setting up a replace-a-base. At the same time, it does need to look big enough. It needs to look lived in. People need to give up personal possessions that look worn out, which probably means someone needs to scout out that decoy location in the first place. What's more, someone needs to scout out that decoy location in the first place. Finding a location that will fool the undersaurs and that will suitably explain all the human sightings that demanded the attention of these exterminators to begin with will be an action of challenging difficulty. Picking the right location will require at least 4 victories on the appropriate roll. Some of these jobs will need to be done by the Jump Rangers themselves, and others can be done by the colonists. If the colony is big enough to have a hangar, then the Rangers might get to use heavy equipment like Sarastes crawlers or Hermes transports to move the gear they need. If they do, then that heavy equipment will need to get in and out of the new decoy base without being detected. Otherwise, the undersaurs will see the hero's plan in action. When the undersaurs attack the decoy base, they do need some actual people. The Rangers will need some they do need to see some actual people there for the plan to work. Someone needs to actually help fight the undersaurs, or at least they need to make a show of trying to escape while the Jump Rangers hold the exterminators off. Finding these volunteers is something the Rangers will need to do before they spring their trick on the undersaurs. On the undersaur exterminators. Once the decoy colony is fully prepared for extermination, and once there are people waiting to fight or run when the undersaurs finally do show up, someone's got to go and bait the actual exterminators into following them. Someone's got to go and bait the exterminators into following them back to the colony. Tracking that undersaur down won't be hard because the colony has a scout keeping an eye on the extermination team in question. The scout on duty is named Jody, and her stats are in the Jump Rangers score book. Finding Jody, the Rangers can see the extermination team on patrol. Getting the attention of the exterminators will not be hard, but getting them to follow the Rangers without suspecting a trap will be harder than you might expect. Most undersaur exterminators are pretty stupid, which is how they got stuck in the job in the first place, but the undersaur leading the squad sees their responsibility as a sacred duty. Keeping society clean and pleasant for the Rexors, in their judgment, is the highest service to which an undersaur can aspire. Taking their responsibility seriously is very important to them, even if the 7 undersaurs under their command have a problem taking orders from an overachiever like Krillish. If our Rangers take the time to observe the extermination team on patrol, they'll witness Krillish's leadership style and their extremely motivated nature in action. Their extremely motivated attitude. While Krillish's thoroughness and pride in their work can certainly pose a threat, it can also be used against them. Teasing Krillish and making a mockery of them in front of their teammates is one way to get them to stop thinking clearly and to start chasing the Jump Rangers more blindly. Where most exterminators are just trying to get through another day of work, Krillish has always looked at the extermination as an opportunity to bring peace and refinement to the minds of the Rexors who rule the Saurian horde. Keeping the galaxy free of pests is their contribution to the greatness of the Saurian Empire, and they plan to make the most of it. Under their command, the 7 other exterminators on their team resent Krillish's go-get-'em attitude. It's fantastic. Once the Rangers have the attention of Krillish and their squad, the game becomes a chase back to the decoy base. Keep in mind that the Rangers don't actually want to outrun the exterminators, at least until it's very clear where the heroes have gone to. Once the heroes arrive at the decoy site, they need to cover up the escape of any colonists that have agreed to help them sell the trick. Keeping the pressure on the undersaurs, the Jump Rangers must force the exterminators to set their charges, blow up the colony, and get out rather than taking their sweet time and performing their duties more thoroughly. With 8 undersaurs fighting back, this won't be easy. Working as a team or preparing the location with traps in advance will certainly help the Rangers succeed. Once the decoy base is destroyed, the job is done. Satisfied with their work, the undersaurs will return to their base of operations and resume a more normal patrol cycle. Even if Krillish has some lingering doubts about whether the colony was really destroyed, they won't want those doubts to be widely known. Rather than get in trouble for failing to finish the extermination, Krillish will stand by the destruction of the base. In private, Krillish will obsess over the nagging feeling that the colony is still out there somewhere, and that a small group of kids may have tricked them into saying otherwise to their superiors. If Krillish ever realizes what has happened, it's safe to say they'll come looking for the Rangers responsible. But what about the governor? Maybe they never had a problem with the plan the Rangers were proposing, or maybe they thought it was brash and wasteful, but you can't put too high a price on peace of mind. With the safety of the colony secured and the attention of the undersaurs diverted, the governor is now a firm supporter of the Jump Rangers. While this wasn't a huge mission, and while it's not an adventure that needs to be heavily rewarded, this governor will have no problem giving the Rangers free reign of their tech shop. Go high and go far, Rangers. That's what I gotta say. That's it. So this is how this works. I'm going to make a copy of this file. And I'm going to name it, let's see, what data deck are we on? Dunk. We're on data deck 63, so this is data deck 64. Data deck file 64. Great. Wonderful. Make a copy. And then we go back and we reset for the next thing. This, nobody needs to watch this. I can just... We didn't name scene 3. Setting the trap. Springing the trap. That's what we'll call it. Springing the trap. We'll just call it the payoff. The payoff. Epilogue. I love it. Fantastic. This was fun. You know, this is good. I don't know if anybody's going to watch this after the fact, but let me know if you do, because there's no reason that I can see not to do this once a week. It's beneficial. We got some content out of it. We got to talk about Jump Rangers. I'll see you next week for Mission Files. So this is Thursdays at 5 p.m. Tuesdays at 5 p.m. is when I read a chapter from the book that I'm writing, which is a game called Conquest. Jump Rangers, a game called Conquest. And there's other stuff coming. But this is a good start. So thank you for watching, if indeed you do. I'll get this up on YouTube. I'll see you next week.